This is a general overview of how to use Stardust XR and install it on specifically Fedora. So, first of all though, you'll need to get the Terra package repository. If you're using Ultramarine as your main distro, you'll have this already. But if not, go to terra.feralabs.com, click install, and then use this command to add in the Terra repository. Now, we can go over here and go do as, or in your case probably sudo, dnf group install stardust-xr. We can easily run this, and it will install all of the relevant Stardust XR packages for you. Now, what we'll want to do is we'll want to test the server out real quick. Stardust-xr-server space -f for flat screen mode. Now you should see this blank window where there's nothing there. That's completely normal. As long as there are no errors here, you should be fine. Keep in mind that this is reliable only on AMD GPUs, and for NVIDIA GPUs you will need a patch. Linked below. Now we can test out, for clients, we can test out Telescope. So now go telescope-f. Now you should see just a single hexagon and this button over here. So you'll notice though that in order to move around, I am holding Shift and right click to look around, as well as Shift, W, A, S, D, Q, E in order to actually move around. So as you can see though, I'm able to look around this environment. And I'm able to grab this using mouse 5, which is the back button on a 5-button mouse like I have here. The reason why it wasn't put on one of the 3 buttons is because all of those have to be used in order to interact with Flatland. And so currently at the moment it does not have support. However, I'm working on it. So, as you can see though. And then you can use, of course, left click in order to be able to interact with things. And of course, mouse back is to grab things and all. So real quick though, I'll just show though that, and you should be able to do this too, you should be able to grab out one of your favorite apps, you should be able to just drop it in 3D space, and now you can interact with it as normal. When you're using Shift WASD QE, make sure not to hover over this panel, as there is currently a bug, where your keys will be currently pressed. If this happens, simply go off to the side, hold Shift or hold whatever key you are currently doing, and then move over the panel, and then release. And that will give it a key unpress event to fix the issue. But, as you can see, I am able to easily manipulate pretty much anything here. So, yeah. And then, of course, I'm able to click that to close, and all of that. And then I can also hit this minimize button right here, which is from Black Hole, in order to maximize and minimize. So this is what you should see effectively in flat screen testing. So, and by the way, these errors below, these are fine if they're only on exit. It's currently having a bit of a hard time. So next, you should go and launch Wyvern or Monado. Either one will work just fine. And in this case, I am going to start Monado to be precise. So, as you can see though, when I run Telescope, it will automatically connect to my device and it will show as an overlay. Now you'll notice that even though I have an index controllers, I'm still seeing hands right here. And that's because Monado incorrectly reports that there are hands and does not report correctly that they are fake generated hands. So I'm going to fix this. And how you fix it is by launching Telescope with the -- disable hands command right there. This works for the regular Stardust XR server as well. So as you can see, just a regular old pointer for both controllers. And you'll see both of them when they are tracked successfully. So that's how you know it's working. Alright, time to switch to VR. Alright then. So, I am currently in the Frutiger Aero world with Stardust XR as an overlay via telescope open. So what I can do is I can directly just tap right on the center to open up the whole entire app grid, and then I can grab out something that I want. For example, let's try Blender again. And now I can literally use my grip buttons right over here. So I can go near this and I can hold grip on both of the corners, and I can effectively align these to wherever I want. So let's say I want to have a nice desk set up over here, which is approximately right in front of my real desk. So now I can use the left trigger in order to open. Oh, and by the way, the corners, they work with controller grip or a pinch. So, a pinch if you're using hand tracking. Anyway, so of course, the trigger is left click. Click the stick down in order to move, in order to do middle click. And then right click is the A button on this one in particular. Oh, sorry, I meant the, this one is the B button, apparently. For right click, to be specific. I can't fix the conflict with the game yet. Anyway. Currently, this little thing down here, called the grab ball, does not work. It's made to where you can take this flat panel and you can put it into other virtual objects, so to better suit your needs. For example, you could map something that directly is on top of your desk or on a wall. You could have a panel shell that is on your wrist for a virtual watch, and similar. However, this functionality is currently broken, as doing the basic user experience is more important. So, in order to close the app though, you just simply move your cursor or your index finger right into here. And now you can, of course, hit save. The button is specifically designed to make it to where it's hard to press accidentally. However, it's easy to press on purpose. So, say I have Hexagon Launcher open, and I want to talk to somebody in the world, or just, appreciate the beauty of this world, because it looks really cool. I can simply look at my left controller, or the back of my left wrist, and I can then tap with my index finger or my pointer right on this thing. You'll see a nice little hover effect. And boom, it's all entirely minimized. So now I can take a look, do whatever I need to do. And then, once I want it again, just go like this and whoop, there we go. And this, of course, applies to panels. Tracking. And this, of course, applies to panels as well. And there you go. Okay, but say I have something like Blender open and I want to actually get some serious modeling done. I'm going to need a keyboard, right? So, in order to beam the keyboard in from your 2D desktop, what you need to do is use the non-spatial input client. So in this case, though, we have a bunch of tiny little modules that can plug things in together so that you can get keyboard input from anywhere and you can spatialize it however you want. However, currently the only stable setup is using something called Manifold, which will produce a 2D window on your 2D desktop for you to use, as well as Simular, which will beam that keyboard input
to whatever you are looking at inside of Stardust. In this case, though, it is simply manifold pipe simular. Now, as you can see, you have this manifold input window. Simply click inside of it, though, and now your keyboard input is automatically beamed over to Blender. So I'll show you with Bonsai. For example, I can rotate fine, but now if I hold Shift on my keyboard, I can easily pan. I can actually get some serious work done now. And so we're going to beam mouse input through Simular very soon. But currently this is broken. Help wanted. So let's launch another thing that's really cool that can help you in general. If I just simply go over to a terminal temporarily, while we add a desktop icon and all of that, I can launch Comet. So, sorry about that, I had technical issues. It turns out that the Comet pen was spawning behind the terminal. So, you can simply grab the Comet pen by using the grip on a controller, or by curling these 3 fingers with hand tracking nearby, like you're holding a pen. And then you can either pinch with hand tracking, or you can draw by holding down the trigger. Right? So this is really, really useful if you, for example, want to annotate or sketch up something really quickly. For example, whoa. Right? So you can draw literally right alongside all of your different applications, unlike any other operating system. And best of all, if you press black hole, it all minimizes successfully and can maximize. So it's temporary annotation. Okay, but what if I don't want to be inside of VRChat? What if I just want to run Stardust standalone, since it's a lot more lightweight that way? Well, we can just run the Stardust XR server directly, because Telescope is specifically meant for overlays. So let's head back to the terminal on the desktop. So back on the desktop, what I can do is I can type in Stardust XR server -- disable hands in this case, because I have the index controllers. And if I do so, you will see that only the pointers appear. Well, why is that though? It's mostly because Stardust, though, the basics, needs it needs clients though, or virtual objects that are able to display all of the things that you are supposed to interact with. And there is an auto start script for clients to make that incredibly convenient. So if I head over to Dolphin and I go over to .config, I can create a new folder called Stardust. So home.config Stardust. And then I can create a new text file called startup. And you can do this through the terminal or inspector. If you go over to permissions, you need to make sure it's executable. And now, you can open this up with your favorite text editor. In my case, I'll use kwrite. /bin/bash. Or something like that. So then you can simply write a bash script in order to help you. In my case, I am going to want to launch Flatland and Hexagon Launcher. So, Hexagon Launcher. The nice thing is, though, is that all of these will be successfully launched and connect to the Stardust server, whatever you put in here. So, now I can go, and the ampersand is, of course, to put that in the background. Flatland. And now I want to run Wayland apps, X-Wayland apps as well. So, if I run xwayland-satellite And then I'll put in some unused export, let's say :10. And then I go display equals :10. Then now that will get passed on to the hexagon launcher. So if I launch any X applications, they will successfully launch via X-Way Lens satellite. And X-Way Lens satellite is already included in the Stardust XR group as a dependency of telescope. All right, so this seems good. So if we go back over to the terminal and we relaunch this, we should see the hexagon launcher. And when I grab the hexagon launcher, and I grab an application, say Alacrity, because of Flatland, it will now launch successfully. Okay, and now if I wanted to launch something that is almost definitely an X app, say Desktop, which is Discord, I can simply drop it in there, and then it will automatically load. Success. Then I can easily close it. So, okay, but this is an empty void space. It's not really that good, but there's something for that. So, you can put this in the Stardust script. However, most of this is one-time commands, so I'll put them here. I can run atmosphere install. And in my case, okay, so what you need to do is you need to clone this repository, or you need to hit download zip here and then unzip it. And wherever it is, you can simply go let's see, run media and media clients app. In this case, that's where I've saved the file, and /the grid. And now it's successfully installed. I can now go atmosphere list to find all of the environments. In this case, I only care about the grid. So I can now go atmosphere show the grid. Now, as you can see, I am immersed in a massive void space. That makes it incredibly easy to just be, somewhat grounded. I can also choose other environments, such as shed, which is a photogrammetry scan of my friend's shed. However, in this case, I want to go for the grid. So I can go set default the grid. Now that's set, and now in our startup script, I can simply run atmosphere show. And now it will show the default environment. So if I were to quit this and run it again, we're instantaneously inside of the atmosphere environment. All right then. Now, say, I'm in VR or similar, and I move back into the center of my play space. I can simply, whenever this indicator is active, use grip or make a fist with my hand, and then move the whole world using something called waft locomotion. So now, of course, I can always grab out Blender. And I can do all my projects. And this works successfully with non-spatial input and everything else. However, for non-spatial input, you should be aware that because Stardust does not understand what is flat screen and what flat screen apps should be connected to and what they shouldn't be, you will need to do a slight environment variable when doing non-spatial input stuff. So, Wayland display equals flat Wayland display manifold pipe similar. And now this will effectively mean that when I relaunch this and as you can see, there we go. The manifold input will successfully show on the 2D desktop instead of inside of Stardust. So I can now grab Blender. And if I simply click into the manifold window, I am now able to use all of Blender's functionality right there. Just as normal. Cool. So this has been a brief look at how Stardust XR works. And so if you have any questions or need support, please go into the Linux VR Adventures Stardust channel or the support channel in the Stardust XR Discord. Thank you very much.